What's up, everybody? This is the Game Virus, and I am back at you guys with a quick update. A little bit of news. It has come to my attention that Capcom has officially announced and verified that they are going to be coming out with a remake of Resident Evil 2. Not a remaster, not an HD remaster, a full-on from the ground up remake of the classic survival horror game Resident Evil 2. And now they have been teasing us and mulling this over for the past few weeks of whether or not they were going to work on this thing, asking us for our opinions, if this is something we wanted, what did we want to see in it, when they knew damn well we've been requesting this for years. This game and like Final Fantasy VII were like some of the top games that were requested by people, and they finally got it right, and they're finally gonna make it, which is BS because they do better. But yeah, I am super hyped for this game. First, we got the announcement of RE0 coming out with an HD remaster. Now Resident Evil 2. It's like Resident Evil heaven for me right now. I'm practically jumping up and down right now because I am so excited and I cannot wait for this. Now, here's what these boys need to do to have a successful game here and to not screw things up. First of all, this needs to be classic survival horror style Resident Evil. And now what I mean by that is fixed camera angles in a spooky atmosphere, for God's sakes. Now let me talk about Resident Evil Remake HD, because that is partly the reason to why we're getting this game in the first place. That game was released for download digitally, and it was very successful. It surprised Capcom. It did very well. So a lot of people got exposed to that classic survival horror style of Resident Evil that they might not have even known existed, especially with the last games that have come out, 5 and 6. Alright, so that's what they need to do. They need to go back to the roots of Resident Evil and do the game just like Resident Evil Remake HD was done. Because once people who experienced Resident Evil Remake HD and enjoyed the old school style and saw how that worked, see that they're making a follow-up to that essentially with similar gameplay style, they will definitely want to check it out. Plus, fans have been asking for them to do a remake of RE2 with that classic style, just to bring the classic style back in general. It'll be so poetic that they do this, because okay, I'm not asking for them to like just make the rest of the series from here on in like it was in the past. I understand that they needed to move on from that, whatever, it's fine. But let this be the final send-off, the final farewell to that old style, like a revisiting or a reunion of that old style, and then, you know, one last goodbye to the good old days, to how it used to be. And like I said, it'll be following right on the heels of Resident Evil Remake HD. So those two will complement each other. It'll be like a package deal. Two classic survival horror remakes that exist, because Remake, listen, was so finely done, and it was done in a time where they hadn't totally moved away from the classic style with the fixed camera angles and all that, and the slower pace and the more horror atmosphere. They hadn't moved past it quite yet, but still, if they're going to do a remake that's kind of like a follow-up in a lot of senses, or at least that's how it seems to Resident Evil Remake, that's where they need to go. Now, if they decide to go ahead and make it over the shoulder, okay, I can deal with that as well, but they gotta do it right. They gotta do it like they did in Revelations and how it was done in parts of Resident Evil 4, and that is with a lot of tension, a slower pace, a lot of atmosphere, and a lot of scary, tense moments. Now, a lot of people say RE4 was not scary, but it was scary. It did have its moments. It wasn't always explosions and Gatling guns and helicopters like RE6 and 5 were, alright? Don't get me wrong, I love 5. 6 is, it's decent, you know. You know, 6 has a lot of charm to it, you know. But, you know, 5 is fantastic. I love 5. And, of course, 4 is fucking epic, but 4, like I said, had those moments. It still scratched that itch I had of mixing a tense feeling with horror and scary moments. Like, one part I always reference for that is the part where you are in the final act, so to speak. You are you just arrived to that island, you're searching for Ashley, and there's that guy, he's in the refrigerator and he bursts out, and then there's the regenerators. The regenerators are there, but they're not always around. You don't know when they're gonna pop up, and everything's quiet. It had its moments. It had its downtime. RE6 had zero downtime. And like I said, Revelations was much the same way. Now, if they do it like that, that would be great. I wouldn't complain. But still, ideally, it needs to go back to the roots. I mean, that's what makes the most sense, right? I mean, not for them to just totally just make a remake by, you know, RE6 standards. That just makes no sense. But there are a lot of brilliant things they could do. Now, here are my thoughts in what I would like to see. First of all, seeing as I want this to complement Resident Evil Remake HD so much, they need to bring back Crimson Heads. Now, for the love of me, I've always said RE2 was a fantastic game, and at the time they were utilizing something very unique in the zapping system, where you had two scenarios that were happening at the same time, and if you did something in one scenario, it would affect the other scenario. Well, they didn't really do it a lot. If you look back on it, not too many things affected. Like, you know, you could mess with some shutters on some windows, and if you didn't put the shutters down in one scenario, there'd be more zombies in the room because they'd crawl through in the next scenario. Or if you took this item, whatever, they need to do more zapping. And one of the ways they can do an interesting take on zapping would be bringing back the Crimson Heads. Crimson Heads are just more ferocious zombies. When you don't fully properly kill a zombie by blowing off his head or setting him on fire, he will rise back up when you thought he was dead. He'll rise back up after an hour or two and be much more faster, much more meaner and deadly and all that. Imagine you're playing Leon Scenario A, and you have all these zombies that you have not properly disposed of. Now, they won't rise up in your scenario, but when it's time to finish the game off with Claire, and she stumbles across these bodies, they rise up, and you have Crimson Heads all over the fucking place, thus making the B scenario a nightmare, potentially. Oh my god, forget about it. That would be heaven. And I wanted to see the Crimson Heads again, but, you know, one of the reasons we didn't see Crimson Heads in Zero was because you're never in the same place for too long in Zero, so it wouldn't make sense to do that. But if they keep it confined to the police station, I can see that working very well. Plus, you got to come back for the second scenario. It'll be brilliant. I'm trying to tell you. And they could bring back defensive items. We've never seen those again. But if they bring back that old classic fixed camera angle style and slower pace with more item management and all that stuff, defensive items could be way more can work basically. Well, I'm running out of time here, but also real quick, they could bring, like, they could have Marvin hang around a bit more. You know, you meet Marvin, maybe he gets hurt. They could have, originally Kendo, the guy in the gun shop who drew down on you when you walked into his gun shop, he was supposed to run around with you. You know, he's supposed to aid Claire or something like that. He's supposed to be like a secondary character. Maybe they could have him hang around a bit, you know? Maybe they could even bring Elsa Walker in there or something, you know? The original female protagonist who was supposed to be in Resident Evil 2. Because they did change up Resident Evil Remake a whole lot. They added stuff and, you know, kind of played with people who played the game again. So if they do all those things, this will be an amazing experience. I can't wait for it. It's going to be epic. I pray to God they make it the classic survival horror Resident Evil with the fixed camera angles. Shinji Mikami's probably not going to be up on board with it. He's a lot of the reason why Remake was so awesome. But hopefully they get the right people. Hopefully this thing is as it should be, as I want it. And I will definitely LP it for you guys. Rejoice! Resident Evil bliss is all around us right now. And I am definitely loving it. So I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.